The man you are looking at is Dr. John S. Pemberton. This is an artist's impression. There are no known photographs of this man. In 1886, Pemberton, a pharmacist working in Atlanta, Georgia, perfected a formula. To this day, Pemberton's formula carries the highest security classification. It is known that certain groups have been willing to pay in excess of $400 million to obtain it. The reason? The product of this formula is the key to the greater well-being and satisfaction of 100 million people throughout 142 countries in the world today, 15 more than the United Nations membership. The dossier you have received contains valuable background information on the history of the formula and the structure of the organization which has evolved to bring it to the world. We cannot divulge details of the formula. We can tell you that Pemberton conceived a formula for a beverage base, a concentrate which could be used by others to produce a unique soft drink. The formulation contains 15 separate substances. 14 of these are readily known. The remaining ingredient, called 7X, is known only to a small group. Only 3 people in the world at any one time know the formula of 7X. Never more than 3 people, never less than 2. For security reasons, they are forbidden to travel together. There have been numerous attempts to obtain the details of 7X and to imitate it. Moscow announced recently that they would soon smash the organization's global supremacy. Soviet scientists had invented a formula codenamed Kvass. However, intelligence reports indicate that the tests failed. The evolution of 7X began in 1885. Pemberton developed a brew he called French wine coca, ideal nerve and tonic stimulant. In the following year, he removed the wine, added a dash of caffeine, cola nut extract, and other oils, and produced a new concentrate. Pemberton was confident that no known method of chemical analysis would reveal the composition of 7X. He was proved right. Even today, with the advance of chemical technology, no one has managed to break 7X. He sold the first batch of 25 gallons of syrup for $50. Of this, he spent $46 on advertising. Even Pemberton was not to realize the impact this policy would have upon the world. One morning in 1886, a soda jerk in Jacob's Pharmacy in Atlanta swished the syrup into carbonated water, and the 20th century ambrosia was born. In 1888, another pharmacist, Asa Candler, negotiated rights to the formula for $2,300. Candler masterminded the rapid expansion of the organization for a quarter of a century. In 1919, he was to sell out for $25 million. Meanwhile, the demand continued to increase and new methods were sought for distribution. By the turn of the century, the product was available throughout the United States. The organization commenced its international thrust and entered new territories yearly. In 1901, Cuba, then Jamaica and Germany. In 1902, Hawaii. Counter-organizations unable to break 7X saturated the country with imitations. The organization decided to consolidate its lead. Working secretly, an Alex Samuelson designed a unique container. This prototype, later to be slightly modified, went into production in 1916. Intelligence reports that today, 90% of the world's population can identify the product by the shape of the container alone. Since their initial design, both name and container have been vigilantly guarded. In 1923, Robert W. Woodruff took control to form an international network. By 1937, the network had extended into Australia with initial operations in Sydney. When America entered the war in the Pacific, Woodruff declared war too. Every GI would have the backing of the organization, he said. U.S. destroyers brought supplies into Australia, and the entire capacity of the plants in Australia was placed at the disposal of the armed forces. One of the U.S. Army's first concerns after securing beachheads in North Africa and Normandy was the construction of the organization's plants. No international pact was necessary to enter Europe. The network was constantly invading new markets and crossing international trade barriers. Infiltration has been achieved through the Iron Curtain into the people's democracies of Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, and Yugoslavia, despite years of vitriolic attacks on Coca colonialism by the communist press. The organization is represented in the U.S. Capitol, at the United Nations, and even in the Arctic. For over 60 years, the organization concentrated on marketing one product. In 1954, after extensive research, production was started to increase the range. Today, throughout the world, there are 250 products in 500 containers, although only a percentage of these is marketed in this district. Part of the secret of the organization's success has been its policy to make its products available to independent, locally owned and controlled operations. This policy enables the organization to greatly enhance the economic well-being of the immediate community. Today, around the world, there are 1,800 operational plants. All but 22 are autonomous. And the product is supplied at more than 4 million outlets throughout the international network. Plans are being formed now for the 1990s. With population growth and technological developments, the organization is looking at ways to feed the world's estimated 6 billion people. Tests are being conducted in South America with a protein-based beverage. The research and development carried out by a team of international scientists is assessing the nutritional level of people who lack protein intake. As far back as 1930, the network was represented in so many countries that the organization formed the Export Corporation to handle its overseas operations. Following the principles of decentralization and rationalization, only 1% of the corporation's employees are United States citizens. To rationalize administration, the Export Corporation has delegated responsibilities to various zones throughout the world. The zone with which we are concerned is the Pacific Zone, with head office in Hong Kong. The zones are further divided into regions. The Australasian region covering this area with its head office in Sydney. This region is further subdivided into 3 districts: New Zealand, which includes some islands of the South Pacific; Australia, including the territory of Papua and New Guinea; and Sydney. The metropolitan area of Sydney is a separate district. The staffs of the Australasian region and Australia district offices are both located here in Sydney, at the offices of the Export Corporation. The staff of the Sydney district is found within the staff of CBO, Sydney, a company actually owned by the Export Corporation. CBO, of course, is the exception which proves the rule. It is one bottling plant which is not an independent company. The importance of your place in this team on the Australia district, New Zealand district, Sydney district, or perhaps region staff will become apparent when you see a later presentation showing the various functions of the corporation. While the staff involved is relatively small, the activities and responsibilities of the Export Corporation are quite diverse. They may range from new packaging or marketing innovations to engineering technology advice. Thus, whatever your mission, you will be performing some important role in the business of efficiently and successfully marketing a series of world-renowned quality products throughout Australasia. The corporation has a respected community reputation, and your best efforts will be appreciated in helping us to maintain and to continually improve our services. Finally, some passwords. It is important that you are able to decode certain inter-office communications in order to gain a full understanding of the corporation's various functions. CBO means Company Bottling Operation and refers to the operations of the Sydney bottling plant. FBO means Franchise Bottlers Operations and refers to the independently owned bottling companies. Export is sometimes used when referring to the Coca Cola Export Corporation.